everybody, my name is Luke Mar and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are going to be talking about all of the issues surrounding all of the fashion magazine's September issues for 2018. Whether it's Rihanna's British Vogue cover, Beyonce's American Vogue cover, Tyler Mitchell, the first African-American photographer to shoot an American Vogue cover, there's a lot to discuss, so we're gonna talk about it. Before we get into the actual video though, if you guys are looking for a channel that talks about fashion in the most fun, sassy, bitchy, analytical way, this is it. So you can go down below, hit the subscribe button, and turn on my post notifications. What do you have to lose? Also, if you guys want to see more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at HotLamode. I post some pretty poppin' fashion memes, and my Instagram stories are always lit. We're spilling the tea. And with that, let's get back into the video. So the September issues of fashion magazines have always been very important. It was a way for magazines to scope out their competition. It was also a way for advertisers for fashion magazines to check the health of each magazine that they're putting ads in, and it essentially starts off fashion's year. After the long and dormant summer, aka 3 weeks in which fashion people go on fucking vacation, September issues essentially start off the new fashion cycle. You have the September issues that come out, and then following that is Fashion Month, and then the whole autumnal vibe, and everybody loves to dress in autumn. New year, new fashion, same old fucking people. The idea of the September issue was pretty much a non-concept in mainstream media until RJ Cutler's The September Issue, which essentially gave an inside look at Vogue magazine and its empress, Anna Wintour. And since then, September issues have really started to garner media attention, and they really do set a standard of what magazines are and celebrity covers as well. At least when they're interesting and not the same fucking people over and over again. There have been a lot of September issues this year, so I'm gonna go through a few of them just so that we cover all of the bases. First up is Tracee Ellis Ross for Elle Canada. I love Tracee, I think she looks really beautiful, but I also know that she does take fashion risks quite often, and I love seeing her beautiful portrait, but I also would have loved to see more of the look. Tiffany Haddish for Glamour. Again, love Tiffany, I think she looks beautiful, but the styling is very childish. I mean, between the rainbow sweater and the sheer ballerina skirt, I don't want Carrie fucking Bradshaw vibes. And also, check Tiffany Haddish's W Mag cover. That sets the standard of what I want for Tiffany Haddish. I love Chrissy Turlington for In Style, but all of the other ones I was like, why? Cameron Russell for Harper's Bazaar UK and Slick Woods for Elle UK both tackled motherhood. But pregnant Slick Woods obviously was the clear winner. I'm sorry, but I don't care that you're holding your baby and you're very sensual. Also, who is Cameron Russell? Harper's Bazaar US gave us a West family portrait, minus Kim in Chicago. I'm not a fan of Kanye for very obvious reasons, but I do think it's a really great picture of him, North, and Saint. Vanessa Hudgens and Nina Dobrev on the cover of Cosmopolitan makes absolutely no sense, while I enjoyed Penelope Cruz and Jacques Mousse on Marie Claire France. I could care less about Jaden Smith on the cover of Dazed, but I loved Helena Howard in Givenchy. Olivia Palermo did Glamour Mexico in that tacky Versace collection. Shockingly, it looked really understated in a good way. Lupita Nyong'o for Porter magazine was very pretty, but also exceedingly simple. I want Lupita to have an amazing cover every time that I see her. Sorry. And Zendaya for Marie Claire was actually really fucking cute. I love the color, I love Zendaya, I think the styling was really me. But I hope that this is the way that magazines start to go, especially mainstream ones like Marie Claire. Other big magazines like Elle US, which is now led by Project Runway's Nina Garcia, Vogue Italia, and Vogue Paris have yet to actually debut their September covers. In my personal opinion, after American Vogue debuts their September issue, the whole September issue kind of dies. So you really need to get it out before then. The only person that I have any hope for is Elle US, because I'm hoping Nina might be the dark horse of the fashion magazine industry. Praying, hoping, but I'm not sure. But now let's talk about the two big issues. Riri and Bey. Rihanna's British Vogue cover was really special. It was the first cover done by Edward Enninful, who is the first Black editor-in-chief of a major Vogue. If you didn't know, we stan Edward Enninful around here. He is an icon. His work at W Mag is legendary. There are so many reasons that Edward should be an editor-in-chief, and I'm very happy with this cover. I mean, between Edward's styling, Rihanna's ability to take fashion risks and make the world believe that she pulled it off, and photographer Nick Knight's avant-garde and kind of kooky style, it was a cover for the ages. I mean, there was no way they could fuck it up. In keeping with Edward Enninful's ability to be the best, the not your average September issue cover brands were present throughout the shoot. You had looks from brands like Marc Jacobs, Alexander McQueen, and Noir Kei Ninomiya. And luckily, Prada made its debut on the cover. I think the eccentricities of these brands is actually very powerful, and it shows that big fashion magazines don't just have to be this commercial bullshit. You actually can show the mainstream that fashion is not just, oh, pretty dresses and oh, blah, like, it really is fashion. Fashion exists. Fashion is crazy. Fashion is revolutionary. Fashion is not the norm. One of the best parts of Rihanna's covers were that floral artist Azuma Makoto delivered flower crowns that were bright and audacious, but also dark and sumptuous. Another interesting thing is that Rihanna has come under fire by a lot of trolls this year about her weight. She's definitely gotten curvier, but I'm living for it. And I mean, I think we all should be. So it's nice to see that for Edward, this is not an issue at all. And that he would use brands that he would use with any other cover star with Rihanna. Rihanna's cover did though come under fire from the Latinx community in the United States due to its reminiscence of Chola culture. Rihanna's choice of skinny eyebrows, which she said that she requested, has not been seen as a totally lighthearted choice. Writer Christina Chavez wrote an article for Marie Claire about how for many Latinx women, if they were to actually wear these eyebrows out in the world, they would immediately be stereotyped as cholas, where in cities like Los Angeles have very strong gang associations. Chavez also recognized that there have been skinny eyebrows developed in a lot of cultures like South Africa, the Roaring Twenties, and the Harlem Renaissance. But to not be able to recognize that these eyebrows don't have a very recent past that still affects a lot of Latinx people in the United States is very insensitive at the very least. Overall, I'm really proud of Edward for this cover. I think it's really amazing. I think it's really wonderful, and I wish him the best, and I'm excited to see what comes from the rest of his tenure at British Vogue. But now let's talk about probably the biggest issue that has come out, and that would be Beyonce's American Vogue cover. This cover and this issue in general goes a lot deeper than just what is in the pages of the magazine. On July 30th, 2018, the Huffington Post published a story describing how Beyonce was to have full creative control over the cover shoot and that she would not be giving an interview, similar to her 2015 cover. This all came while rumors that Anna Wintour, the legendary editor-in-chief of American Vogue, would be stepping down. Anna has always held supreme power over every single thing that has gone into every issue of Vogue, especially the September issue. And the rumor that Beyonce would actually have creative control over her shoot really seemed to be the final blow to Anna's fading power. The Huffington Post also stated that 23-year-old Tyler Mitchell would be shooting the cover story. Mitchell would be the first African-American photographer to shoot a cover story in the history of Vogue, which is 126 years of magazine. So times that by 12, and that's a lot of issues that could have been shot by a lot of African-American photographers. If this doesn't prove how out of touch Anna and her staff at Vogue are, it proves that there's some sort of systematic racism in the industry that runs really deep. Because it was reported that Anna's team didn't even pick Tyler Mitchell. Beyonce did. Because it was reported that it wasn't Anna's team who had picked Mitchell, but Beyonce herself. Mitchell has stated, "I depict Black people and people of color in a real and honest way. There is an honest gaze to my photos," which, I mean, tea. Mitchell did shoot a teen Vogue cover, which is very influential because the subjects of the covers were the survivors of the Stoneman Douglas shooting massacre. So he has worked with the Condé Nast family, but nowhere near Vogue. Beyonce's covers arrived on August 6, 2018. The main one depicted her in a white Gucci dress and floral headpiece while she sat regally in front of a linen backdrop. Many declared that the floral headpiece had already been done by Rihanna for British Vogue just a few weeks prior. Now, I know that the covers definitely will have gone to print at least a month prior to their release, but one must ponder if the clash of four titans, Beyonce and Rihanna, who aren't clashing but they're titans, and Anna and Edward went as smoothly as one would think. There is no possible way that both editor-in-chiefs didn't know about each other's covers. But Edward definitely triumphed because his cover came out first. The other cover depicted Beyonce in a black Alexander McQueen dress and corset with embroidered red, green, and yellow stripes. The reference seems to be a reflection of reggae's cultural colors. Red for the blood of the martyrs, green for the vegetation and beauty of Ethiopia, and gold for the wealth of Africa. The rest of the shoot is focused on large advertisers like Valentino, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Saint Laurent, except for one Wales Bonner suit. Wales Bonner is a brand founded by British designer Grace Wales Bonner, who looks to Afro-Caribbean culture for inspiration. The photographic style of the shoot is so far away from anything that Vogue has done for a September issue in the past. Look at the past 5 years' September covers. Getting into personal opinion, when I first saw the cover, I wasn't floored by it. I thought it was very simple, but I also thought it was very regal and beautiful, and my eye definitely goes to that grainy sort of sunset quality that goes into Tyler Mitchell's photos. But a photographer friend of mine told me that this is Tyler's style, and that when a lot of photographers are commissioned to shoot Vogue covers, they get a lot more commercial. So it's extremely rare for a photographer to really channel their style for a gigantic cover and a gigantic cover subject. I mean, if you look at some of Nick Knight's work and then you look at the British Vogue cover that he did, even Nick Knight, a literal revolutionary photographer, sort of commercialized his style just a little bit. So it's brilliant to see that Tyler did not touch or change his style at all in order to fit into what American Vogue thinks is going to sell. So it might not be avant-garde, it might not be crazy, it might not be everything that you want, but for African American creatives to come together and create a cover that is different than any cover that American Vogue has ever done is revolutionary. Probably the most telling part of the issue has to be Beyonce's subtle call out of fashion and Vogue in particular within its own pages. During her interview, not an interview, kind of just like a journal experience, she stated, "If people in powerful positions continue to hire and cast only people who look like them, sound like them, come from the same neighborhoods they grew up in, they will never have a greater understanding of experiences different from their own. They will hire the same models, curate the same art, cast the same actors over and over again, and we all lose." It's such an extremely important point, and the fact that she has no problem saying that in a magazine that has been an extreme contributor to this problem, I give her the most amount of kudos. I also recommend that you read the rest of the interview. I will link it in the description below. The thing that I thought was really sad is that Beyonce, a musician, had to open the doors for a photographer, who is Tyler Mitchell, and a fashion designer, who is Grace Wales Bonner, to be featured in one of the biggest fashion magazines. Was there nobody at American Vogue that really had ever thought, oh, like, let's actually use an African American photographer to shoot a cover? I think this is just another point where the young fashion creatives really have to stand up and say, this is not who we are, and that is them, and they've always been that way, and we're not that. And I think luckily with something like this YouTube channel, we are changing the narrative in fashion. And I think there are so many amazing young, cool creatives in the fashion space that have been changing fashion over time. And so I'm not the only person. I think there are a lot of really great people, but I do think that luckily the way that we look at fashion, the way we talk about fashion is no longer this exclusive, one person decides who is on a cover and all this different stuff. I think it is changing to be much more of a collaborative and open space, and I'm very happy with that. And I'm happy that Beyonce stood her ground and really changed the way that an American Vogue cover was done. And with that, I leave you guys with a couple of questions. Who did you like better, Beyonce or Rihanna's Vogue cover? And what do you think about the fact that Tyler Mitchell is the first African-American photographer to actually shoot an American Vogue cover? Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys on the next video, and TTYL.